Alright, my good people, Game Awards announcement predictions time. Are you ready to kick this thing off? This is why we all tune in to the Game Awards, if we're being honest. I appreciate the awards, I appreciate the pageantry, but we're there to see announcements, and I get hyped every year and then disappointed every year. And the Game Awards is really the show where I let my expectations run wild, my predictions run wild, because there's really no restrictions. You know, it's not a PlayStation show, so it's not specific to PlayStation. It's not a Nintendo show, so it's not specific to Nintendo, Xbox, etc. Like, this can be anything. And I do like the idea of the Game Awards being the show where the big heavy hitters, the big third parties that are going to be playable on all platforms, I like the idea of that being the show that they go to reveal their games. So each year I get a little bit crazy with my Game Awards predictions, and this year is no different, my friends. But we're going to have some fun, and I'm not necessarily predicting like every single one of these games to be announced. I just like looking at the predictions, the possibilities, the hopes, the dreams, and everything in between. So let's dive into the Game Awards 2024 predictions. And I'm going to kick it off with a simple one. I think the Thing remaster, I think we get an official release date for that. I'm thinking early 2025, or I could even see, like, if you want to do a quick, you know, turnaround, release it sometime in December, get 100 million eyes on your product immediately, and allow people to have that, kind of that option to impulse buy it on the fly in that moment right there, where they're like, oh shit, this game's available tomorrow. We're going to go ahead and download it, pre-download it, have it ready. So the Thing remaster official release date from Night Dive, I think we see it. Mina the Hollower. If it's ever going to come out, I feel like we'll see it here. Yacht Club has been taking their time on this thing, and I guess you can't blame them. They are trying to craft up something super, super special here with Mina the Hollower. The game looks really solid. We did see some gameplay of it like 6-7 months ago, and looks great. Hope we see an official release date for it here. Same thing, direct tie, Hollow Knight Silksong, exact same vein. I think if we don't see Hollow Knight Silksong here, it's probably never going to release. The new console Metro game. So earlier in the year, the devs over at 4A confirmed that a new, Metro game is like a new real non-VR Metro game is a thing that's in development, and I think it was probably in development simultaneously alongside Metro Awakening, the VR game. So now that that's out, do we begin the marketing campaign for the console Metro title? Could it be that this thing is releasing quicker than we expect? Kind of hope so. So I'm just going to throw that out there. I'm not saying I necessarily predict it. Might be too quick of a turnaround from launch of their last game to the announcement of their next game, but yeah, new console Metro game. Mafia 4, the old country, will definitely be there, I assume. In that first trailer, it said see more in December at the end of the trailer for the old country. And what I'm really hoping for this game is I'm hoping it's just a little bit more scaled back and linear and very rich with environmental interaction in smaller spaces, opposed to big vast worlds with very limited interaction in the actual world environments. So Mafia the Old Country, cannot wait. One of my most anticipated games of 2025. And let's stay right there in that GTA clone space for a second, and I want to talk about this new studio named Liquid Sword, which was formed by ex-Avalanche founder Christopher Sundberg. And it appears that they are working on an open world game that looks, in my opinion, environmentally very similar to Grand Theft Auto 4. And we got some screenshots of it that I saw earlier this year. And I believe, it was Shinobi over on Twitter that I saw these screenshots from. And not much to really go off of here, but maybe where we're leading up to the first official announcement of the game. We don't even have a title for the game yet, but we do have those screenshots that obviously I'll show on the screen for you all. But yeah, I'm just sitting here looking at these screenshots. It's like this to me just feels very GTA 4 inspired. It has like a gritty grayish feel to the world environments, and I don't know, man, with this subgenre just being so barren You know, the GTA clone. It's like that's not even a thing anymore. And I think there's a real yearning for it. I've talked about it 100 times. We need GTA clones to come back. So Liquid Sword, see what you got. And obviously Avalanche, some of the best in terms of destructibility, open world, crazy environmental, like spontaneous encounters with like the Just Cause games and shit. So excited for that. Inzoi, I don't really know how to pronounce this, but this is Krafton's attempt to get into the sim space, and its early access is scheduled for 2025. I could see, you know, just an official early access release date trailer for Inzoi, and I look at this game and a part of me kind of looks at it and says, yeah, I don't know, this looks a little bit too good to be true. Like, I don't know if we're ever going to get a realistic looking Sims game where you can drive cars and all of this shit and have that Sims nature to it and all of it functions well together. But I think they're really pushing AI with this thing a lot and having AI do a lot of the heavy lifting for this game. Which, you know, I think in certain genres of game, I think AI could be very beneficial, especially for a lot of these like conversations and shit, or like spontaneous storylines that pop up out of nowhere. These sort of procedurally generated moments in the game, or like, you know, they had something about where you were able to just type in the name of an image. Like if you typed in panda, a panda image would appear and you could add that panda to your clothing. And so there is some shit with AI that I could see being beneficial for a game like this, but you just have the issue of most AI dependent games or games that are, which AI, you know, all developers have used AI from forever. But games that are like more reliant on AI than they are the human creative component seem to kind of suck, you know. So we'll see. Wolfeye Studios, their next game is a new IP, and this is some ex-Dishonored talent over at that studio, and they are making a first-person immersive sim like Dishonored. And they put out Weird West a couple years ago, kind of a top-down isometric RPG that leaned into a lot of those immersive sim-ish sensibilities to some degree. But I think what people were really wanting from that studio with that ex-Arcane talent is like, dude, just give us a Dishonored-style game. Since we're really not getting those anymore, the immersive sim genre is kind of petered out to some degree in the AAA space. You know, and I don't know if this will be necessarily AAA, but maybe that AA scope, a AA scoped Dishonored game. Fuck yeah, dude. I'd love to see the announcement of that. Which it's been announced, but like, I don't think we have an official name for it, or like we haven't seen gameplay or any real tangible information about the game. OD, old Kojima. We know that if he has anything to say, Keighley will be the place he goes to say it. And that could maybe be for some Death Stranding 2 information as well. Maybe we get a release date for Death Stranding 2. Or could we get the first ever glimpse at gameplay of Overdose? And it could be a thing where they save that for the Xbox showcase in June, and maybe we get the official release date confirmation of Death Stranding 2 at the Game Awards. But I think that anything Kojima has to say, I think he'll be heading over to Keighley's to say it. Dawn Walker. This is being published by Bandai Namco, and the project is being headed up by some ex-CDPR talent, and it's being described as a AAA dark fantasy RPG. Dude, give me a little bit of that Witcher energy with some of that ex-Witcher staff as we wait for The Witcher 4, because I don't think that's going to come anytime. I don't know. To be fair, we did get that. What was it? The like release date for it was a release window that popped up on some retailer site recently for The Witcher, but that shit just kind of happens all the time. But maybe they are gearing up for the official announcement of The Witcher 4. I'd love to see that. But I'm gonna say this Bandai AAA dark fantasy game, Dawnwalker. Maybe we see that. Judas release date. It's definitely about time to get that. This is Ken Levine's game, obviously. First game in over a decade. and looks very BioShock coded across the board. But I think that the whole narrative Lego blocks idea, having some branching options in your, having actual agency in the story and it really impacting the turn of events of the storytelling, I dig the idea a lot. The Last of Us Season 2. I think we get a trailer for TLU Season 2 over there on HBO. Not really. I mean, what better place to announce this? I think it is supposed to release next year, the next season, so maybe we get that official release date for Season 2. I think they really want to stretch out Season 2 as long as they can to build up to The Last of Us 3, the actual, the video game. So I think that they'll have like Season 2 and 3 being the events of The Last of Us Part 2. And I also think in that time it'll give Bella Ramsey time to kind of age a little bit and be able to portray that older version of Ellie a bit. So if they like just directly continue off of Season 1, where Season 1 ended, and we see sort of the restructuring, rebuilding of civilization to some degree, and we see what Joel and Ellie, what they did in the downtime between the events of Part 1 to Part 2. I think that's probably I think that's a smart way of building into, not to spoil anything, everybody already knows, but I think you want some more time of character development between those two characters, with Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal, and I think you want them to be around for as long as possible. And I'm dancing around this like a motherfucker, pretty much spoiling it without spoiling it, but everybody already knows what the hell I'm talking about. But yeah, I think they're going to stretch out Season 2 or Part 2 into 2 seasons. And this is a hope, but a new game from Flying Wild Hog. They put out Evil West and Shadow Warrior 3 in 2022, so it's been 2 years. By the time that the game comes out, it'll probably be closer to 3, so I would hope they have something in the cooker, something ready to go over there at Flying Wild Hog. I'd pray that it's an Evil West 2. I'm not necessarily confident in that, but maybe a Shadow Warrior 4. I'd even be down for that. Shadow Warrior 3 fucking ruled. A word song. So this is coming from a team made up of ex-Bethesda, ex-BioWare, and ex-Obsidian talent, and their team is their team is called Something Wicked, and hopefully they can just deliver. Kind of they're all ex, juggernaut RPG creators, and this is gonna stay in that vein of a narrative-driven, choice-based role-playing game. But I think it also has like some horror elements in there, and it's set in Portugal during the Middle Ages. The only thing with this is I know they recently had some pretty significant layoffs at the studio, but they're still, posting on Twitter and shit, so I assume the game is still cooking. I saw on their website that the game was pretty much feature complete in 2023, but obviously if you have no staff to polish the game and get it ready to go and get it out the door, then, well, there's not going to be any game to showcase, any game to launch. I don't know. I'd love to see some kind of Jade Empire vibes with Word Song. Staying in that lane, Worlds Untold. This is Mac Walters, ex-BioWare lead writer for Mass Effect 2 and 3. This is his new studio, and the game hasn't been officially revealed yet, but it does have some NetEase money behind it, so hey, at least it's getting funded. And NetEase, they got bankroll. They got bankroll after bankroll. Big money. I like it. It's a little bit worrying. They mostly release, like live service games, very microtransaction centric experiences. So I'm hoping that's, not some weird ass situation where we're diving into this and we have this badass RPG that we're playing, and then we get to the end of it and we got to pay like fucking $5.99 to experience the suicide mission. Something like that. Big badass fucking just epic conclusion, and we gotta now pay $5.99 if you want to experience the end of this game. So Yeah, hoping that that money can go, that NetEase money can go towards funding a really fucking good video game from an incredible writer. All right, Marvel 1943. We got to see gameplay on this. Got to see some gameplay. We know it's beautiful, but prove to us that the game is not too good to be true. I'm really, really excited for this thing. Amy Hennig's first game in over a decade as well. So let's see it pop up, man. Let's see some gameplay on it. Prove to us it's not too good to be true. Eternal Strands. I think we get the release date on this. This game is genuinely. I don't want to say. I think it's probably somewhere in my top 10 most anticipated games of 2025. I mean, there's so many games releasing in 2025, but like this shit just looks really cool to me. Really, really cool to me. Every new minute of gameplay for this thing somehow looks better than the last. It's like a combination of Breath of the Wild and Shadow of the Colossus and there's some cool fucking mechanics in there with this like in-depth environmental strategy where if it's raining, certain fire attacks won't work, and if it hasn't rained for a certain prolonged period of time and you're in like a drier climate, things will catch on fire and spread quicker. And you have to use all of this elemental and environmental knowledge to take down these big ass just behemoths. So fucking sick looking, dude. So sick. So physics driven and just so different. The game just looks so different, in my opinion. A little Monster Hunter, a little Breath of the Wild, a little Shadow of the Colossus, all combined together. Just, man, looks so good. Listen, next one is going to be, this is, I don't know, man. Chrono Trigger. Do we see anything of this game? Do we see a port, a remaster, a remake announcement? I feel like that is a Square Enix IP that is just destined to print money if it's brought back in any capacity. But once again, this is Square we're talking about. So they seem very hesitant to give the people what they want in certain cases. Just sitting over there on that Sleeping Dogs IP, sitting over there on that Parasite Eve IP, games that fans would rejoice to see brought back in some capacity. But Chrono Trigger, I mean, listen, once again, this isn't a full-on predictions video where I'm going through saying, I think this is going to get announced and that's going to get announced. I'm thinking about Chrono Trigger. Something made me think about Chrono Trigger, so I jotted it down. Do I think it's going to get announced? No. But it'd be cool just to, like, they're not playable on modern platforms, or at least not modern consoles, as far as I'm aware. Could be wrong on that, but I don't think they are. So maybe just a port. I think people would be fine with that. I think you'd make plenty of money just porting that bad boy. Avowed. I think we'll just get a quick marketing beat to remind you, hey, this thing is releasing. And maybe even see Indiana Jones pop up there as well. Just, hey, Indiana Jones is out, like a quick little Xbox ad. Indiana Jones is out now. Avowed is out soon. Subscribe to Game Pass. It's worth your money. We promise. Let's see. Jurassic Park. The Jurassic Park Survival. I know this is Saber, who they recently went independent and separated from Embracer. So I don't necessarily know where that license lies. I think that Saber is still working on Jurassic Park. I don't think that license went back to Embracer or anything for them to like go and find a new team to make it. But yeah, I'm actually more confident in it than ever in Saber. I think that they have the chops now to go out and not be burdened by any Embracer related drama, Embracer related interference, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Like, Saber just put out a phenomenal game with Space Marine 2. So it seemed like they were a very quantity focused studio for the longest time. Now I hope that they can shift back and go more quality over quantity. And let's get an epic Jurassic Park game from them. Let's get an epic Knights of the Old Republic remake. Let's get an epic Avatar game that they're working on. Like, take your time. I know they have multiple teams working on it, but take your time. Cook this shit up. Get it right. So yeah, Jurassic Park Survival. I think we should probably see that with a release date. And staying there with release dates. Mixtape. I think we definitely get a release date for this if it's coming in 2025. I don't know if any of the Annapurna drama affected Beethoven and Dinosaur working on this thing. I hope not. This thing looks so sick. you know, this very 80s nostalgia, roaming around, listening to damn, what was it, Smashing Pumpkins were on there, which, you know, kind of leans towards the 90s as well, but just a super nostalgic looking video game with some of those fantastical elements thrown in there. New IP from Coffee Stain Studios, the makers of Goat Sim. I think they're going to use that tech and create a wacky kind of almost Saints Row 3 inspired open world game. I just don't think you can let that tech go to waste. You know, being able to create open world games like that is just a miracle in and of itself. Throw a fucking character in there opposed to a damn goat and try to gain some mass market appeal. I really, really hope they don't make another Goat Simulator game. Just throw a human on your box art and have the exact same gameplay as Goat Simulator. And I feel like you're guaranteed to sell more copies. Have a little bit of a story in there. Once again, there's a yearning for this style of game. People are dying to play a Grand Theft Auto style game. And maybe too little too late, as GTA 6 is going to come out next year, or maybe 2026 if it ends up getting pushed. But like, I don't know, dude. I don't think there's just not enough games in this genre for the amount of interest in this genre. Sure, you might not sell GTA numbers, but would you be okay with selling 10 million instead of 100 million? Like, I think most studios would be thrilled to sell 10 million copies. Go out there, put your game out, and sell 10 million copies. Next game from the Stray developers, Blue 12. Very rare that a team's debut game is nominated for Game of the Year. Very rare for a team's debut game to be this good in general. And I don't know, with Stray being such a critical darling, I wouldn't be surprised if they just went straight to Stray 2. You know, like a new cat game or some shit. But I think this studio has incredible talent for world building. I would love to see a new IP. I would love to see more of like a stealth espionage IP from them, because they have some Metal Gear-ish sections in Stray. I would love to see them fully embrace that a little bit more and dive into some more stealth-oriented gameplay, but with, once again, a human character. I don't know, maybe I'm opposed to main characters being animals in games. I'm realizing that about myself in real time, but yeah, I don't know. And I'm really not. Stray was dope. Sam Barlow, his next game with Blumhouse. It was officially announced, what was that, at Summer Game Fest? Or was that Gamescom? Either way, it was announced last year. And I don't even think we have an official name for the game yet. They're calling it Project C. Sam Barlow is working with David Cronenberg's son, Brandon Cronenberg, on this game. And I remember seeing Sam Barlow saying at some point he wanted to make like a Souls game with no combat. So I don't know if that's what this game is going to be. I don't even know what the fuck that game could be. But I'm interested in Blumhouse. I'm interested in their future goings on. I'm interested in what they choose to publish, because I think narrative games in the horror space aren't necessarily as prominent as they should be. I wish we got more good stories in horror games. So I'm hoping that's what Blumhouse can provide to that genre. Exodus. This is coming from Archetype Entertainment, some ex-BioWare talent. Once again, we're talking about a lot of ex-BioWare talent. This one was announced at the Game Awards last year. Looked very, very Mass Effect-y. It's the game where Matthew McConaughey is, we don't know this for sure, but it seems like he might be your Keanu Reeves style character where he's like living in your head. I don't know if we'll see an official release date for this thing. It might be too early for that, but I do think we see gameplay for Exodus. I wonder if we get something from Hi-Fi Rush, something from Tango Gameworks. Not even necessarily like, of course it's not going to be the announcement of Hi-Fi Rush 2, but like, do we get just I don't know, like the physical release announcement officially for Hi-Fi Rush 2? Do we get some merch for Hi-Fi Rush? My bad. The official physical release announcement for Hi-Fi Rush 1? Do we get some merch announcements for Hi-Fi Rush? I feel like just even a message from Tango Gameworks being like, hey guys, we're happy to announce we're continuing development on the Hi-Fi Rush franchise. Like, do we see the announcement of a Netflix adaptation, a cartoon for Hi-Fi Rush. Like, that game has mass market appeal on so many different fronts, not just from its commercial viability as a video game, which I think it does have that as well, and I think Xbox was really short-sighted, or Microsoft was really short-sighted on letting them go, but I think it has viability in so many different markets: toys, action figures, t-shirts, cartoons and movies, and like, so maybe we get, I feel like it would just be a nice little thing to get in this award show, being like, hey, over here at Tango, we're still cooking up some shit for you. Stay tuned. We're happy that you guys love the game, and we want to continue making games that you love. So, just something cool like that. Resident Evil. Do we see Code Veronica? Do we see Zero? Do we see RE9? We got to see something Resident Evil. I'm always going to have Resident Evil in every predictions video I make. It's my favorite franchise of all time. But I do 100% predict we see Resident Evil announced here. Something Resident Evil. 2017 we had RE7. Not saying these were announced at the Game Awards, but just the release cadence. 2017 we had RE7. 2019 we had RE2. 2020 we had RE3. 21 we had RE8. 23 we had RE4. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like 2025 is almost a given that we get a new Resident Evil game. I feel like it has to be a given. I don't know which one it'll be. I lean towards Resident Evil 9 on this. Could be wrong, but I'm leaning towards Resident Evil 9. Maneater 2. You got to make that game. You got to make it. This thing sold like crazy for a AA game. It was revealed that they sold 14 million copies. Which is like so hard to believe. But I mean, that game was dope. A shark RPG, that's such a unique concept. And I know it got discounted a lot, so a lot of people are buying it $5-10, but still, 14 million copies of a game sold at any price is fucking staggering. So you know that over there at Tripwire, they got to be thinking about returning to Maneater. The next game from the Signalis developer. Signalis was a huge hit in the survival horror space. Wouldn't be surprised if they stayed right there in that tank-based survival horror style experience. I think they were doing some interesting shit mechanically, narratively. I would love to see what they're cooking up next. So, Everywhere. This is that game from Leslie Benzie's, the dude who really like spearheaded GTA Online. And Everywhere is a game about doing fucking anything, everywhere, all at once. I don't fucking know. It's got a lot of shit going on. And I think they're taking on maybe a bit too much and launching with too much ambition, kind of trying to be a little bit of everything, but maybe not doing any one thing particularly well. But to be fair, right now it's only in beta, and this is one of those things that might just end up really clicking, because it's all based around community creation. So if something really takes off and randomly just hits, with it being this free-to-play game, people are just going to jump in. And if there's enough to keep them there, then fucking bring out the old cash register. You're going to be chinging your way to the bank, straight to the bank with it. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. I'm laughing straight to the bank. These references are too old for people to even be understanding in 2024. That's a 50 Cent song from... What album was that from? Fucking A. Wasn't The Massacre, was it? I think it was what was the album after The Massacre that 50 Cent released? I feel like it was a gray album with his face on the cover. I don't remember the name of it, though. Anyways, the next prediction that I have here actually ties straight to that last prediction. I believe recently it was announced that Mind's Eye is actually a game that was created inside of Everywhere. I think it was announced that it's going to get a different publisher. So I think Mind's Eye is going to be published separately from Everywhere, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't know if I talked about this in a video years ago, but I feel like I did. I don't even know which one. It would probably be some predictions video. But I remember talking about, like, I think it'd be a good idea to separate those games. Because Mind's Eye is this dope-ass fucking... It's got this GTA look to it, kind of open world, driving cars, shooting at motherfuckers. You got the dude from Mafia 3 as the main protagonist. Like, game looks sick as shit. And I think it's a good idea just from an optical level to separate from Everywhere. Everywhere might be a total dud, a total bomb, but if you make a good single player narrative driven experience, kind of GTA inspired, print the money. Print the money. So could we see just the announcement of Mind's Eye here, but not Everywhere? Do they try to sever that connection a little bit? You know what I mean? Like, I think there's some intelligent, I think there's something there. I think that's a good idea. Even if it was totally created inside of Everywhere, even if you can still go into Everywhere and play it, like just selling Mind's Eye on its own. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think there's something there. I guess maybe if you could play it for free inside of Everywhere, why would anyone buy it separately? But maybe just don't even let people play it in Everywhere. Just make it its own totally separate thing. But I don't know. We might not ever see that game. We might not ever see either of those games with a full release. Steel Seed. This is kind of like Metal Gear Solid meets Stellar Blade. Character action indie style game. We haven't seen much of it, but we did get a gameplay overview, and it looks pretty good. Some sort of stealth sections going on in there as well. And yeah, I think that game looks cool. Would love to see a release date for it. Deus Ex Remaster. Embracer, you got to be doing something with that Deus Ex IP, even if it's just a quick little port job. Get Aspire on the ball. I know they're doing all the Tomb Raider shit, but, you know, put a new team on the Deus Ex Remaster. Get the first, I don't know, at least get one in Human Revolution remastered and available on all modern platforms. I think, once again, just easy way to print some money. The next game from Slow Clap, the Sifu developers. 2022 release for Sifu. And I talked about in a previous video how I'd love to see them work on like a Roadhouse style game, being a bouncer, like a fucking, I don't know, man, a AAA game where you're playing as a bouncer, fucking people up inside of a club. A little bit less serious, a little bit more just fun, capturing a vibe, doing some day drinking out on the beach and pulling some chicks and roaming around town. Like, I don't know. I think that'd be a cool little cozy but also brutal and brutal, gory, fun brawler. Put that on the box. KOTOR remake, once again talking about Saber. They just got some major funding. I forget what it was. A company out of Florida, I believe, that provided them with a lot of cash. And so I think Jurassic Park Survival has more of a chance of showing up here. I think that's probably further along in development. KOTOR remake is just the one I want to see, so I'm always going to talk about it in any of these predictions video. I want to see that more than anything else they're working on by a mile. I do worry that PlayStation just wanted no involvement with it whatsoever. I once again kind of wonder how much of Embracer's impact did Embracer's impact on that kind of change the situation a bit. Would PlayStation want to continue working with Saber but not Embracer? I don't know. Joseph Ferris next game. Lock this in. This is absolutely going to be there. This is one of my most confident predictions on the list. And I'm gonna don't lock this part in, but lock the first part in. Joseph Ferris absolutely will announce his next game at the Game Awards. I guarantee it. Bet the mortgage on it. Bet your marriage on it. Bet everything on it. Kidding, obviously. Sucks that I have to say kidding on that, but don't do that. I have no idea if the fucking game will be there. I'm not an insider whatsoever. I have no idea if any of these games will be there. Actually, I have more of an idea that most of these games will not be there. Anyways, Joseph Ferris next game. Once again, lock it in. Bet your marriage on it. It's going to be announced there. I think that this is... I feel like it might be more of a Brothers style situation where you can play it single player or co-op. You know, I think that they're missing out on some serious bankroll for limiting their games to co-op only. I love the idea. I love that they're actually making couch co-op styled experiences, but let's do, you know, you can play it co-op or you can play it single player and stretch out that audience as much as humanly possible. All right, let's see. now we kind of get into, let's see what I got on this list here. Yeah, we kind of get into some batshit territory where it's just throwing shit at the wall, and which all of this is throwing shit at the wall if we're being totally honest. But Wolverine? I don't think PlayStation has the goods to do their own showcases anymore. I don't think they're capable of doing it. I don't think they have enough games in the works that people are actually excited for. So, do you show off a Wolverine here if you have anything new to show? Do you show off a Ghost of Yotai gameplay reveal here? If that's ready? Is there anything else Sony first party that they could show here? You know what I mean? Like, just, I don't think that PlayStation showcases, I don't think they got the goods anymore. So, maybe you rely on the Game Awards a little bit more than you used to. Because now you maybe have to get those 100 million plus eyeballs on your game. Whereas you used to be able to do that with your showcases. Where Winds Meet. The first trailer we got for this was at Gamescom a few years back. And it was excellent. It was kind of like Ghost of Tsushima with a more over-the-top action bend to it. It was supposed to come out this year. Which, obviously, that's not happening. But I do think at this point, we got to kind of stop doubting these Chinese and Korean developers. Like, it was for a while there, every time we saw one of these games coming out of China or Korea, we were like, yeah, we'll believe it when we see it. Well, the proof is in the pudding. Black Myth Wukong is a smash hit. Stellar Blade is a smash hit. Next year, Crimson Desert will be a smash hit. Crimson Desert, well, let's add that to the list. I think that'll probably pop up at the Game Awards with a release date as well. We got to stop doubting these studios. Like, they're putting out smash hits, and that region is blossoming. Korea, China, like, there's going to be a huge pivot to massive games coming out, massive like single player console games coming out of China and Korea in the future. Do we see a Soul Calibur 7? Do we see a Virtua Fighter revealed here? Probably not on both accounts, but we do know a Virtua Fighter is in the works. So, I don't know. Tony Hawk 3 and 4 remake? Similar package. How we got Tony Hawk, the 1 and 2 remake? We know Tony Hawk's been talking with Activision. He said recently that there's more to come in the Tony Hawk franchise. Let's hope it's not a VR game. Far Cry 7. I got a weird prediction for Far Cry 7. I think we're going to see this game and it's going to look nothing like other Far Cry games. Don't know why I have that feeling. I have a feeling we see a new Far Cry game and we're going to be like, yo, maybe not even in a good way, but like, this looks different. I think it's going to be a thing where people are like, okay, wasn't expecting that. Maybe good, maybe bad, maybe something in the middle, but just a curiosity is going to happen the next time we see Far Cry revealed. Staying there, Splinter Cell. Probably not, right? But I don't know, it's got to be time to re-reveal this game. It's been so fucking long. I don't think it'll happen here, but Jesus Christ, where would it happen? You know, Ubisoft doesn't, I mean, I guess they do their own Ubisoft forwards and shit, but that's, you don't want to fucking re-reveal that thing at a Ubisoft forward. You want some real eyeballs on that thing. So I'd love to see it here. I doubt it, but I'd love to see it. 007, iOS game. I mean, it's, once again, been years and years and years since we've seen anything on that. Would love to see it. Once again, kind of doubt it, but would love to see it. BioShock, doubtful. I think they're going to probably release Judas before 2K puts their effort into marketing BioShock. Go ahead and get Judas out the door. Don't really want any sort of conflicting messaging where I'm sure those two games are going to look very similar. Well, the whole idea that it was supposedly, wasn't it set? Damn, I forget where it was set. I remember like snowy environments were teased and shit. So maybe just a drastically different setting would differentiate those games enough. Skate is entering early access. Do we see the official early access release date for Skate? That actually might be out there. I'm not sure. But maybe see some more information on Skate. New gameplay trailer that doesn't look like total dog shit. That'd be nice. Wonder Woman. We haven't seen anything on this in years and years and years. Be nice to get an update on that. Doubt it. This one I do think that is much more likely. Tomb Raider. The Amazon funded Tomb Raider. So, alright, we know that Crystal Dynamics were over there assisting with development with the initiative on Perfect Dark. And recently it was revealed that the lead creative director, I believe, for Wolverine left Insomniac and went to work for the initiative. Is there any potential that that was caused by Amazon kind of rushing Crystal Dynamics to finish up Tomb Raider? So maybe did Crystal Dynamics kind of have to shift their focus back towards Tomb Raider and away from Perfect Dark? And did some shit start to crumble internally when that took place? And in that moment, did Xbox then realize, oh shit, we need a new creative director to kind of lead this thing while Crystal Dynamics is finishing up their Tomb Raider game? That is totally speculative bullshit that I'm just coming with, just off the top of the dome here. Probably completely incorrect. I have no inside information into any of these studios, but I don't know. Timing. Kingdom Hearts 4. Persona 6. I don't know. You tell me. I wonder about EA's Iron Man game. And also, they have that Black Panther game in development as well, if I'm not mistaken. I know that they were canceling a lot of their licensed shit. Where they were like, they had the Star Wars, Respawn was working on that like Mandalorian Bounty Hunter style game. They canceled that. I wonder if they canceled the Iron Man game. I wonder if because Motive was working on the Iron Man game, the team that made Dead Space. And then they had... Damn, man, I gotta take better notes. They had the... who was the dude? They got... Was it the guy from Shadow of War, Shadow of Mordor? Like their lead, the creative director on those games, started up a new studio for EA, if I'm not mistaken, to work on that Black Panther game. Could be incorrect on some of that shit, but I feel like one of those games could maybe pop up. I would assume maybe I think the Black Panther game has been in development a lot longer than the Iron Man game, if I'm not mistaken. But maybe EA Motive is making a smaller scaled Iron Man experience. Maybe we see that pop up. So, yeah. I don't know, man. Just throwing out shit at the wall, seeing what sticks. Some hopes, some dreams, some everything in between. Let me know how you feel about these predictions. Let me know what you think will get revealed. Let me know what you think will get re-revealed. All of that good shit here at the Game Awards. The reason we tune in is for the old announcements, and I'm damn excited to see what could potentially be announced. Maybe, well, no, I was going to say Control, but they have that multiplayer game in the works, so it'll be a while until we see anything Control, Max Payne. Just sort of thinking on the fly what else could be revealed. But anyways, those are going to be my predictions, hopes, dreams, and everything in between. Let me know yours down below in the comment section. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. See you very soon. Goodbye.